This lesson is going to be a kind of a separate AutoCAD analytical lesson, if you will. The drawings that we have from School Street are pretty bad. They're inaccurate, and there are many more floors than are indicated on these drawings, but we'll try to salvage what we can. At this point, we're constructing a SketchUp model, so we're trying now to model the openings along the alley behind the building, so perpendicular to School Street. If I were to look at the site, I'm in Google Earth now. So just to recap, we've modeled up to 28 feet. Columns, we haven't modeled the floors that sit on these 28 feet. We've approximated the columns. We haven't modeled the beams that span from the interior load-bearing wall to that sit on these columns. We've modeled the condition of this storefront. It's just one big glass sheet. We've done the same for the space, the interstitial space between these columns, right? Even though it isn't exactly that, but for all intents and purposes, those are openings that are largely glass with spandrel panels that cover spaces between. I keep going inadvertently into this alley. So what I'm trying to do is have a look at the back. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and there are 9 of these. These are largely big glass openings with massive panels in between and pretty thick mullions, but you know, for all intents and purposes, up to this level, which we've approximated, is 28 or 30 feet. We have openings like this, and I'm gonna look at the AutoCAD file and say that this facade at least represents the approximate interval spacing of those openings. It really doesn't. It's not high enough. But let's measure the width, or what it reports. The width to be, it reports it to be about 9 feet. Okay, the height, we're going to negotiate that as we see fit. So I'm going to take this drawing, just this part, copy it to the clipboard, create a new CAD drawing, paste it, and just save it as rear facade, something like that. We'll save it as a drawing. We'll save it in an older version of CAD because these newer versions sometimes give us problems. So I'm going to say CAD 2006. Rear facade of school street. And we're gonna use it for purposes of importing into the SketchUp model and using it as a template to model those openings. So let's go back to our SketchUp model and import, oops, rear facade of School Street. So whenever there's stuff in the model already, it groups, it automatically groups the CAD geometry. So I'm going to create a, it's placed it as a component defined as rear facade of building, etc., etc. Okay. I'm going to create a layer for it. AutoCAD elevation underlay. I'm going to take that component and put it on that layer so that we can turn it off and on at will. But so we need to place it in an upright position. So let's go ahead and rotate that. We ought to be able to simply, well, okay, select it, rotate. It's going to turn around the red axis, but we'll just do it explicitly. Place the use the arrow key to turn the protractor to the way we need it. Click once. Going out in the green axis and then 90 degrees that way. I could simply measure this, but let's now rotate it this way, 90. Now, it is not orthogonal to this view, so we'll have to see what we can do with it. I'm going to take it, oops, I'm going to take it by a corner and align the corner with this corner of the building, then I'm going to rotate it into place. So I'm taking the endpoint that forms that corner and placing it along that endpoint. Now we're going to rotate it about the vertical axis, right? The protractor wants to be down on the ground. Whatever that angle is. So it's currently on the green axis, and there it's snapping to, when it gives you that alternative color, it's parallel now to an edge that it senses. So that's where we need that to be. Now, if this, and I can still turn it on and off because we have it on its own layer. So now what I need to do is create rectangles that are coincident with the boundaries of those windows, even though this, so let's look again at the site. So really what we're looking at is we need a continuous system that has a sill at a fairly high, almost eye level, if someone were standing there. So I'm going to say the height of the window is going to start at 5 feet and then go to just under 28 feet. So the height is going to be 20 feet. So we have windows that are 9 by 20 feet. That's our best guess, because the drawing is wrong, and we are studying the facade by looking at it and making that inference. Go to SketchUp. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to try to draw around that opening 9 feet across, and then I'm going in this direction, and I'm going to type in explicitly a dimension of 20 feet. 20, enter. Appears that that was a good guess, because it lines up with some. Okay. I'm going to double click that and cut it to the clipboard. Control X. I'm going to turn off the AutoCAD elevation underlay. Double click this group and edit, paste it in place. So if the thickness of this wall is consistent, we should be able to knock through these openings by push-pulling to the inside face. So let's try it. I'm not getting it. Let's see if we can see what we're doing in X-ray mode. We want this to reveal on face. And we are not getting it. So, the clipboard still contains this, right? So if I were to delete that and say edit, paste in place, the clipboard still has that object. So I need a wall, I need for this wall somehow to be parallel. So I'm going to do what I did before. To the wall that we removed behind the columns. So all this geometry is wrong. So I think we're going to have to do some creative surgery here. I'm going to create, complete that back wall. Right? We can see already there's a little taper there, so that why that wall is not a simple rectangular extrude there. And then I'm going to take that shape and push it through to the ground, so we remove it. It should only let me go 28 feet. Okay. And I'm going to erase. Use the erase tool. to remove those lines. So if I close this group, what do we end up with? We end up with a big empty space along that wall. And a bunch of intervals. Well, maybe it's drawn correctly on the CAD drawing, but so now I'm going to turn off all the other layers except for my AutoCAD underlay. And what I want now is a rectangular wall. So I'm going to draw a line from one end to the other. And then to the inside. Turn off the CAD underlay to complete it. So you need more than one line to affect the offset tool. So that's why I draw that little corner. So now I can select that. I double click that and we can use the offset tool. I think we used 1.5 feet. That direction, 1.5 feet. Let's complete that. We can use the move tool just to move the point, the end point. Well, that's dangerous. Let's do this instead. Let's do that. Erase those lines. Let's go to the top view. The camera is parallel. Let's see where we are. Uh, 28 feet. Triple click, make it a group. Let's create a layer for that rear wall, rear alley wall. And put that group on the layer. Turn back on the CAD. Not that. Oh, we'll close this group. So we need the AutoCAD underlay. And let's see, if we double click that group, edit, paste in place, see if our punch out works now.